Hey everybody, welcome back again. I've got a great, fun, easy little holiday painting that is based on a patriotic holiday. Think 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. Hey, this is a great little painting that you can do with anybody at any age. The sky itself is what's important here. We're painting it to look like a sky, but also like the American flag. We've got a lot of different ways that we can take this painting. I'm gonna show you a nice, easy way to get this done. There's just a few layers that happen on this one. Beautiful, fun little painting. So let's talk about supplies. Hey, the supplies that we're going to be needing for this. We are going to be using paint, and the paint colors that we're going to need are some white. You'll notice that I have it in two different sections there for a reason. So I have two different sections of white. We've got blue, black, red, and we'll need a little bit of yellow to get this done today. As far as brushes go, you're probably going to want a pretty big brush for the first layer that we do, and then everything else will get done with some nice small pointed brushes. I have a canvas board out today, but this painting could be done on paper or whatever you want to paint on. It doesn't matter. I just happen to have a canvas board on the ready right now. We're also going to need a little bit of water and a little bit of paper towel to get this done. We're going to do a little bit of drawing, so I have a pencil ready to go. And then a couple of optional materials. We've got some clouds that we're going to paint, so I'm going to be doing that with a sponge today. And then as far as whatever it is that we put on your painting, you can see I've got a skyline on this one, I've got a Captain America on this one, and I've got sort of a foresty scene on this one. You can put anything that you want to. Our example today, we're going to put some mountains. But another optional material, if you were interested in, is this old technology known as carbon paper. If you wanted to, you could draw any kind of design that you want onto a piece of paper and use carbon paper to transfer it onto your painting. We'll talk more about that later. So let's dive into the painting. To get this one started, the very first layer that we're going to do is the sky. Okay, so we've got the blue sky that's going to happen, and it's just a combination of blue and white. Now, in this example, I do have water down at the bottom, so I did leave that open, but you do not need to do that. There does not need to be any water down at the bottom. In my example today, I'm going to not do the water here. I'm going to have the mountains. We're going to have mountains that come all the way down to the bottom of the paper. So let's dive in. What I'm going to need for this then is my blue and my white. I'm going to have the lighter blue down at the bottom, and it's going to get progressively darker and darker and darker blue as I move up. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to start with my big brush, and I'm going to have white paint right down at the bottom. Now, white on white, that's always kind of a funny thing to do, but we do this so that we can do some wet in wet mixing on the painting itself. So I'm going to put some white down at the bottom here. And notice that I'm painting everything horizontally, meaning that I'm going right across my canvas board. For you, that might be paper. Whichever way you're going to set up your painting, you want to go right across just like this, horizontal brush strokes. I'm going to go a little bit higher with the white, and then I'm going to begin with my blue. So white on white, that might be hard to see, but I've painted approximately this far with just white paint. This white is wet right here. Now I'm going to go in and grab some blue. Now the blue I'm going to start at the top. I want my darkest blue to happen at the top. It's going to mix in. I have a little bit of white on the brush, so it will mix in a little bit with that. And then it's certainly going to mix in as I move down the paper. Now again, painting completely horizontally, go all the way from side to side, all the way out. And you'll notice here that it will begin to mix in with the white, and it will progressively get lighter and lighter. Now I'm going to go back up and kind of fix some of my brush strokes here. So we're going to go all the way across, all the way across, all the way across. I don't want to leave any brush strokes in there if I can help it. And moving down and down and down. And you'll notice it gets lighter and lighter and lighter. Just this beautiful little blending of the color because we had it wet in wet on there. And there we go. I've got my blue sky is ready to go. Now, the next step in this is we are going to be doing the clouds. Now, as an optional material, as I said, I'm going to be using a sponge for mine, but you could do this in a wide variety of ways. Clouds don't have to be done in any certain way. And you certainly could use a brush to get this done. There's really, really nice examples I've seen that have just a brush to do the clouds. Essentially, we're going to be making stripes anyway. Another way you could do that is by balling up paper towel. If you don't have a sponge ready to go, you could ball up paper towel and use it it that way and just dunk into the paint like you'll see me do with a sponge. Now, the goal in this one, if you'll notice the clouds here, they go in a pattern of red and white and red and white and red and white, just like it does on the American flag. Now, we're not trying to make this look very realistic, although you could try to do that. But the real goal is to have stripes of red and white coming across, and notice that we have a little window here of blue, which also works very well, just like the flag. So the first color that I start with is red. I'm going to take my sponge and I'm going to put red on one side and I'm going to have white on the other side. Now again, we want to leave kind of a window here. Think about the size of your painting and what you're going to leave open, and we want to have a window where we see the blue, and then we're going to put some stars on there. So starting right about maybe halfway, I'm going to start to drop down onto the painting itself and add in a nice little red layer of clouds. And again, you can kind of see me bouncing down, bouncing down, bouncing down. So I've got my first row of red clouds. Now I'm going to put another row of white clouds right down here. Now again, I still want to keep this kind of window open here to show where the stars are going to be. So I'm going to turn my sponge over to the white side. I'm going to dunk down and grab a little bit of white paint to go. And right down underneath where I was, and again, kind of turning and turning and turning, kind of just like turning a doorknob. We're going to have turn and turn and turn and turn and turn, and we've got a nice little white row of clouds. Now the next one, you guessed it, is going to be a red row of clouds. So I'm going to flip over to the red side, dunk down into the red paint. I'm going to have another row stop right here. So the white row I'm going to have go all the way across, but right here I'm going to have another red row come across. And again, we're kind of popping down onto it, letting it turn and turn and turn, just turning my wrist a little bit as we go. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to turn over again, and I want to get to the white side here, so I'm going to grab up some of the white paint. Now again, on this row of white clouds, what I intend to do is go all the way across the painting now. So it's going to be just like this one, but I'm going to go all the way across, and there's my window where the stars will show through. And again, we're just going to kind of bounce this through, almost like turning like a doorknob as I bounce down. Now we're going to flip over again and go back with red again. Dunk down into the red. Go on to the painting, and we're going to go one more time back over to the white and finish that row down there. And now with the cloud layer done, you should see that it represents an American flag pretty well. Now the next step is we're going to put in some stars as well as a firework into the background there. The stars and the firework are all going to happen in this area, again to represent the flag, and the stars in the flag itself. Now for this job, to get the stars in, I'm going to go to the smallest brush that I have available. The stars, most of the stars that are going to go in are going to be in white, but I love to add just a little bit of yellow to it as well, having a few yellow stars in the sky. Now to get that done, essentially I am just going to be loading up the brush just a little bit, and I'm going to try to tap down onto the painting again just a little bit. We want to get some really, really nice small stars. Now, we want to have the stars kind of going all over this area. Unlike the flag, which has a very regular pattern, I'm going to recommend that you do not follow too much of a pattern for yours, that you just kind of put them down very lightly in kind of a random pattern. Now, I've got some of the white ones down. I'm going to grab up a little bit of yellow and add a few more in yellow as well. Okay, the stars look pretty good. So the last little thing that we're going to put up in the sky before we do our foreground layer is I want to add a little firework. Now if you notice, the firework sort of starts as a circular shape in the middle, and then it has little sprays that go out. So I'm still going to be using my small brush to get this done. You can put your firework kind of anywhere in this area that you want it to be. I would not put it in front of the clouds at all, but anywhere in this blue section right here. I'm going to put mine close to the middle. I'm going to be using white and yellow to get this done, and I think that's a pretty good spot right there. So I'm going to give myself kind of a big little blob of white, just a little circle, and that's going to be the center of my firework. And then from there, essentially what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to let lines come out and away from it. So starting right up on top, I'm going to take a line that goes up and away. You can make your firework as big or as small. You could also have several fireworks in your painting if you wanted to. So I have kind of 1/4 of my firework done. Now, when I go to the other side here, as I have it come up and away, I'm going to have it turn the other way. So I'm going to grab up a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. We can have a little bit of a mixture happening here. So again, I'm going to be coming up, but I want it to kind of curve away the other way. And we kind of want to see a more or less circular shape that's happening from your firework at the ends of all of this. Now I've got to get around and do the bottom. The bottom right over here, we're just going to be letting it bounce right over here, still curving the same way that I had it curving that way. Now I do want to add a little bit more color in there, so I'm going to go right on top of the lines that I've already made and just add a little bit more of the white and the yellow so that my firework stands out a little bit more in the blue sky. I like the combination of the white and the yellow as it goes through there. Now another thing that I like to do with this is show somewhere that this firework is coming from. So I'm going to have a little line that's going to kind of drift up all the way to where that firework is so that we can see that it was shot off into the sky. Now if you enjoy this work with the firework, you could put as many fireworks as you wanted to in the sky. We could have 2, 3, 4 fireworks. You could also have them in a wide variety of colors. They don't have to just be white and yellow. I'm pretty happy with my firework there. I think it looks pretty nice. So the final step in this is to get yourself some kind of black silhouette as your foreground. Now you don't have to. If you like how this painting looks right now, you could just stop right here. But I really like what happens when we get that detail layer in. So let's talk a little bit if you want to get a very specific silhouette. For those of you that don't feel very comfortable with drawing, this can be a very easy process. Essentially what you'd want to do is using the keyword silhouette, you can look up any image that you want to. Think about something patriotic. You could do a silhouette of an eagle, a silhouette of the Statue of Liberty, a silhouette of Captain America. Now, once you have that image brought up on your computer, you want to make sure that it is the same size that you want it to be in your painting. And directly from the screen, you would simply trace on your silhouette. Now, you can use just a nice light paper to get this done. Once it's been traced on there, then you would simply trace it on top of the painting that you've created. You can see I've already got this one in, but essentially what would happen is I would pick out exactly where I want this to go. I would tape it down in 2 spaces on the same side so that it won't move anywhere, but I can flip it up and do like this. And the carbon paper, if you're using carbon paper, would slide right in between that. Then all you've got to do is trace your lines, and the carbon paper is what puts it down on the painting below. Now, if you don't have carbon paper, there's lots of other ways to get this same idea done. Simply trace on a piece of paper, and if you use either chalk or pastel, put that pastel on the back side of the paper, and it will do the same thing as the carbon paper. For my example today, though, I'm just going to simply put in kind of a range of mountains. I have a foresty one, I've got a city one, I've got a couple of characters. I've made several of these paintings. On this one, I want to get like kind of like if we're out in the Rockies or maybe in the Great Smoky Mountains. So I'm going to be using my pencil and just draw a range of mountains into this painting. So I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side of the paper, and I'm going to just draw using my pencil. I'm going to put up a little nice mountain top there. Let it come down a little bit. I'm going to go back up again, and then I'm going to let it come down quite a ways. We'll go up and up again. Mountains, you don't have to be very particular about what they do here. We're just kind of trying to find different ranges. I'm going to let one go up really high on this side, and then we're just going to finish off right over there. So I've got my little range of mountains, and that's just going to be painted in black, and that's going to finish off this painting. The black is going to make the flag and the sky really shine in here, so I highly recommend that you do something in black. Again, it could be anything that you want it to be. I'm going to grab up a healthy amount of black and just begin to paint in my mountains. Now for this step, you certainly could do mountains just like me, but I really encourage you to get creative. You could put any kind of silhouette that you wanted to on this. But again, because of the patriotic nature here, maybe think about what you can do that is also patriotic. Tons of fun ideas that you can do for a silhouette on this. We don't have to be too careful with the black, but we do want that black to turn out nice and strong, nice and dark, so that all of the colors of our sky really start to shine against and contrast with the black of whatever silhouette you choose to put in. All right, there it is. I've got myself a nice little patriotic painting that I could put on display in my own home or office, or I could give away as a gift to someone I love. This might be a great painting to get your older loved ones or your younger loved ones. Anyone at any age will have a really fun time with this little painting. I hope you had some fun with me today. Hope you're here next time as we continue to paint and create things on Love Art Studios. Thanks for joining me today. See ya.